Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're looking at a push build with the Hydra, which is the starting set for the Wizard in Season 22. And in the background I think we're doing a 110, that's with 800 Paragon. The gear really isn't that optimised. We could squeeze a little bit more out of this. The build's limiting factor I think is going to be toughness, because once that starts dropping your squirts really stops working for you, and in fact it becomes a bit of a hindrance. So even though we could roll some more damage on this character, you're going to need some more gas to buff up your toughness to take this much further. But obviously 800 Paragon, no orgs, 110, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, we'll do a guide on it. Before we do jump in and take a look though, welcome to anybody who's new to the channel. Do consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always guys, thumbs up is greatly appreciated. But let's take a look see what we can do with this Hydra set. Now we're going to take 5 pieces here. We're going to work in the Magistrate helm, so we've got basically the rest of the Hydra set on. Hydra set, we basically get double the duration of Hydra, awesome. We get extra heads on them, that's obviously fantastic because damage is reduced by 8% for every head, so we can have 10 heads max because we've got the Serpent Sparker, so we do get double Hydras as well as double duration, so we can cast 2 at once. Now the heads in theory can't die every 2 seconds. What you will find though is that once they do start dying, you're pretty much in trouble because it crashes your damage reduction and it also crashes your damage on the 6 piece. So 2000% damage for each head, 10 heads, 20k damage mod. Magistrate is amazing. It's one of the really nice items for this build because the Hydras will cost Frost Nova. They will freeze stuff for you, which is really good. They also do increased damage. Now with the freeze, you probably could try and get away with the APDs for a bit more toughness, but the thing you need to bear in mind is that you don't always have stuff in range, so we've gone for the blood braces. What have we got weapon wise? So Serpent Spark obviously does 2 Hydras, which is great, 300% increased damage. The Hydras are pets, they scale really well with attack speed, so this is just a really nice modifier for them. Death Wish, because unfortunately Death Wish just works its way into all these wizard builds, so when we channel we get extra damage. Now the tooltip isn't correct, it says we have to channel for at least 1 second. What actually happens is it kind of delays everything by a second, so if you press channeling 1 second later you get the damage bonus. It just is what it is. Death Wish man's and everything. Fragment of Destiny, we basically get a stacking multiplier effect on Hydras up to 300% whenever we attack with a signature spell. We're going to go for Spectral Blade, and it stacks up really quick because the Shame of Delzir allows us to attack 50% faster. We also get resource back with this, which is nice. So the 10 stacks are really easy to maintain, so 300%. Then Winter Flurry, we get another 150% damage when we tag with Blizzard. So there are quite a few things to set up in terms of this damage rotation, but it's not too bad. I didn't find it particularly obnoxious to play, let's put it that way. Squirts, as we say, double damage. Obviously once you do start taking incoming damage, you do get slammed because you take this extra 50%. But the idea is you can use the blood braces to buff up shields. You have a pretty chunky shield, and we'll obviously show how we do that. Unity for damage reduction, again helping the squirts. We've got the Bane of the Trapped in here for more damage. Obviously the Hydras are cold, they do the freezings, this is pretty much always up. Bane of the Powerful, again more damage against elites, more damage in general, a little bit of damage reduction. Stricken at some point, but honestly I think the way this kind of shielding mechanic works, it's going to be a late swap onto Stricken. We've got armor gems in our chest and trousers, buff up that toughness a little bit because Wizard is obviously an all-res class, so armor is super helpful. Hydra damage here, Hydra damage here. Attack speed pretty much everywhere you can get it. Cooldown, you don't really need too much. We do only really have teleport on cooldown, so I guess ideally you don't really want it. We'd want attack speed here instead of cooldown. Again, don't want any cooldown here. You can play with Crimsons on, but I just found that it's slightly better without. We've got a Carini in the cube, 80% damage reduction for 5 seconds after we storm armor something. Now this will drop off, again stuff will move towards us, so when it drops obviously it's a problem because 80% damage reduction 110 with 800 Paragon is going to be, you know, you're going to feel that. We want cold on Bracer, cold on Ami. We do get cold percent on Winter Flurry, so that is quite nice as well. So it does help us hit a little bit harder. And obviously we have a Royal Ring here. It's probably more likely Carini goes in the cube because this defaults with attack speed, which is okay. And Carini's obviously on a bit of a range, but at some point you'll probably find yourself a nicer one of these. It's generally better with the stats. So, you know, long term, Rogan here, Carini there, but you just do your best with your Carini. It is pretty difficult. Crit damage, crit chance, sorry, on here, crit chance here. That's probably about all we need to know, I guess, for the gear and stats. And always double crit on gloves. You know, it's forever thus, isn't it? So Hydra, Frost Hydra, this just seems to do the most damage. We've got obviously all this cold stuff with the Winter Flurry, so pretty nice. Spectral Blades, Barrier Blades, we stack up the Fragment Destiny with this. We also gain Protective Shield, helps keep the squirts, which is nice. Arcane Torrent Flame Ward, this is the channel ability, so we need to basically have this active to get the Death Wish bonus. As I say, there's 1 second delay on it. We also take less damage whilst we channel. It stacks up to 25%, so yeah, once you've got everything in position, you can hold this down for a bit. You will sap your arcane power, but you need to be doing Spectral Blade anyway, so I don't really think you need APOC, arcane power on crit, but again, that would help with the channeling. I mean, you could always, I suppose, swap to Ray of Frost, because that's got much cheaper channeling cost, but the damage reduction helps keeps the squirts up. Storm Armor, Power of the Storm, whilst this is up, we obviously get the Carini proc for the 80% damage reduction. We also get 3 arcane power reduction, so again, kind of helps for this, kind of helps for this. Blizzard, again, costs arcane power, so Storm Armor helps for that. Apocalypse, this has just got the biggest AoE effect, so we can tag a lot more. You want to be pressing this probably 1 second after you've been holding down the channeling, just so that you're getting those two things to line up. You know, you don't want to do this then do this, because you're not going to do any extra damage. You know, it's much better to do Arcane Torrent than Blizzard. Teleport, 2 runes I think to choose from. Safe Passage for damage reduction. You know, if you need to reposition because you're taking a pounding, it can help you get back up to the 10 Hydra heads. Wormhole is obviously very nice for just general utility. 2 teleports within 3 seconds. You really can get yourself out of trouble. Unstable Anomaly, you know, you will need this from time to time. If your Carini drops, you're going to proc this. It's just how it is. Audacity, I tend to find this is a pretty close range build. Again, if you want to do it at range, Power Hungry could work. Galvanizing Ward, this gives us 60% of our life in a shield when we don't take damage for 5 seconds. Obviously huge because it's doubled with the Blood Bracer. And then Arcane Dynamo, once we attack 5 times with Spectral Blade, we basically get 60% increased damage on our next cast of Hydras. So, you know, the kind of rotation is you basically want to build up your Hydras. You know, you've got your Storm Armor popped, you build up the Arcanes, whack, you do it again, whack, and then once you've got your Hydras, you're going to do a little bit of channeling, and then you're going to pop Blizzard, and then as you start to run out of arcane power, you can build it up again with some Spectral Blade. Again, you'd be hitting for your Spectral Blade stacks as well, which obviously will keep all that modifier. So it's a very much kind of, you know, you get yourself set up in position and kind of sit there and do damage. But 110, the footage in the background, you'll see the squirts drops quite a lot, so it's pretty much on the cusp. I don't think we could have gone terribly much higher with it, and obviously it's a much smoother ride playing it a rift or 2 down. But obviously, you know, that's kind of, you kind of got to take this double modifier really. Another option potentially would be to take the Traveler's Pledge and Compass Rose, but you know, this 50% damage reduction is very nice on the Unity, and the toughness of these two things kind of offsets each other. So I just found squirts I quite like. If you can get to the right level, it is pretty good. But yeah, Traveler's Pledge, Compass Rose is another consideration. Whether this will be better than Twister on season, probably not. I mean, we don't know whether this is going to get reworked. Death Wish, at the point I'm filming this, still on PTR. We don't know if we're going to get Twister love. But Twisters is likely to be strongest on Legacy of Dreams. And this is the starting set. So, you know, to get yourself up to 110 with 800 Paragon, that's a pretty solid footing. You can go off and do what you want. And obviously this has got a really sick speed build that goes with it for 3 minutes as well, using pretty much the same pieces. So if I was going to play Wizard next season, I probably would build this. I'd build it for speeds, and I'd probably push with it as well, subject to maybe finding out if Twister is like, you know, a good load of tiers higher. But if it's only a few tiers higher, I just stick with the Hydra. It's pretty fun. I do like my summoner build. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. Come see me on Twitch sometime. Come check me out. I'm super excited for season 22. Hopefully it's going to start soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay filthy, stay casual. I'll see you real soon. Peace.
With